There was a time not so long ago when humanity rejoiced at being accepted into the Galactic Council. The date was carved into memory, August 17th, 2213. Earth had achieved the three pillars: a unified world government, clean fusion power, and the elimination of internal war. After passing a rigorous two-century probation, the species was granted full membership, a moment of triumph. That was then. Now, in the year 2278, humanity's lead diplomat, Ambassador Marianne Vox, sat in her polished titanium chair, watching the news feed from the Council's interstellar judiciary. A hologram played before her eyes, showing yet another slap on the wrist for the Galaxians, a mollusk-like race known for their total disregard for anything not immediately profitable. Environmental destruction of the Helix 9 solar system is regrettable, the synthetic voice droned, but Council recommends self-review and quarterly reporting going forward. Marianne's lips tightened. A month ago, Earth had received a 2.3 million galactic credit fine for negligent orbital littering because one of their historical Mars rover platforms from 2010 had broken up on atmospheric re-entry during an Earth Museum exhibit. "Historical debris," she hissed. "It's a museum piece." Her assistant, Dr. Ren Osi, stood by, fidgeting with his datapad. "You're right, Ambassador. This makes..." He swiped. 1,427 unequal rulings against Earth since 2263. "And nobody notices?" He hesitated. "Well, we notice." She stood up. "Time for someone else to notice, too." The Galactic Council Hall was a breathtaking construct of metaglass and programmable matter, orbiting the neutral moon of Caldrex. The high chamber resembled a spiraling seashell when viewed from above, symbolizing unity through divergence. Ambassador Vox marched through it like she owned the place. She didn't, but her posture said otherwise. At the apex sat High Counselor Elavari, a 6-meter-tall silicoform from the planet Orst. They resembled an Art Deco chandelier crossed with a bonsai tree and spoke with the patience of glaciers. "Ambassador Vox of Earth," Elavari greeted, folding their branches with respectful symmetry. "To what do we owe this brisk approach?" Marianne didn't waste time. "I'd like to discuss enforcement discrepancies. We've compiled extensive evidence showing humans are reprimanded and fined disproportionately compared to other members." Elavari blinked. A literal blink. Several crystal orbs dimmed and reignited. "I am unaware of such discrepancies. The Council ensures balance and justice." Marianne stared at them, expression unreadable. "Are you sure your translator isn't malfunctioning?" A flicker of motion passed over Elavari's skin, a sign of mild offense. "The translator has been upgraded with the latest synaptic parity harmonizer. Perhaps you are perceiving inequality where none exists." She narrowed her eyes. "Right, perhaps." Back in Earth's diplomatic enclave on Caldrex, Marianne gathered her team in the Situation Room, a glorified name for the only conference room without a plant. "Dr. Osei, tell them." Ren, always slightly uncomfortable when speaking to a room, took the center. "We cross-reference every Galactic Council ruling, sanction, and arbitration from the last 50 years. We adjusted for cultural variance, planetary tech levels, and procedural exemptions." Guess what we found? A junior analyst raised a hand. "You're going to say bias. Worse, patterned bias." He tapped a panel. The room dimmed as a galaxy-wide map bloomed in holographic light. "Look at this," he said. "Sanctions against Earth spiked after 2263. Prior to that, we were well within the Council's norm. Then, suddenly, we're enemy number one for everything from temporal insensitivity, whatever that means, to unauthorized human enthusiasm." The room chuckled. "Now here's the kicker," Ren said. Around the same time, there was a massive restructuring within the Council's Enforcement Subcommittee. Several representatives retired or were recalled by their home planets. They were replaced by proxies. Marianne leaned forward. Which species? Ren's face turned grim. Mostly anonymous postings. But we traced voting patterns and language signatures in internal memos. They match one known group. Everyone held their breath. The Draco reptilians. Silence fell like a dropped star. The Draco reptilians were complicated. Officially, they had left the council over a century ago after a heated dispute about genetic sovereignty. Rumors claim they went underground, literally and politically. Other species whispered about their involvement in galactic shadow economies and bioengineering rings. Nothing was ever proven. Earth, back in the early days, had once joined others in pushing the council to limit Draco influence. Now it seemed the Dracos were back, and in power. They never forgave us, Marianne said. And now they're changing council policy from the inside, Ren added, but quietly. They don't speak during sessions. They never show up to diplomatic galas. They hide behind proxy avatars. So why haven't any of the other species noticed? Ren gave her a look. They probably have, but it's not their fines increasing, not their recreation privileges getting revoked. They have no incentive to care. Marianne's hands balled into fists. We'll give them one. What followed would later be known as the Earth Audit, a massive public release of all council rulings, enforcement actions, and sanction records since the council's founding. Marianne's team dumped the data directly into the council's interstellar commons, a place where data went viral faster than a supernova in a mirror. The upload included side-by-side comparison videos, a human orbital cleanup ship fined for insufficient solar aesthetic compliance, a Grevern mining fleet vaporizing moons, with a suggestion to consider local rituals before proceeding. The public reaction was immediate. Even species with little affection for humans began asking questions. A satirical Galaxian news program ran a segment titled How to Be Human and Pay for Everyone's Mistakes. Memes erupted. One popular one showed a human diplomat being ticketed by a floating robot for existing too enthusiastically. Marianne for once smiled. The council was forced to act. A full emergency session was called, something that hadn't happened since the Silax event, don't ask. All representatives were summoned, even the anonymous ones. For the first time, the Draco proxies had to show up. They arrived as 3 holographic cloaks, hovering, indistinct, and voice modulated. Elavari presided. The council acknowledges a systemic imbalance in enforcement procedures. Evidence has been provided that suggests manipulation of protocols. We will now hear from the implicated parties. The cloaks pulsed, then spoke as one. Earth's accusations are quaint. They fail to understand galactic diplomacy. They stir resentment to mask inadequacy. Marianne stood up. We understand diplomacy just fine, but fairness? That's universal. The chamber murmured. She pointed to the Draco avatars. You manipulated the enforcement subcommittee. You silenced opposition. You thought nobody would notice, but we did. And now, so has everyone else. A moment passed. Then one of the Dracos broke form. The cloak dropped. A scaled figure stood. Eyes like black mirrors. A voice that made bones ache. We remember Earth, he said softly. You pushed for the Biological Sovereignty Act. You ruined our work. We were scientists. Visionaries. You were splicing toddlers with plasma whales, Marianne snapped. The Draco grinned, just barely. Progress is often misunderstood. The council voted on a motion to expel Draco influence until proper review could be done. The tally was close, frighteningly so, but it passed. The Dracos vanished without a word. Marianne returned to her office. A box of old Earth chocolate sat waiting, a gift from the Zalari ambassador who had apparently misjudged Earth's contributions. She unwrapped one and sat, finally able to breathe. Weeks passed, sanctions slowed, fines dropped. Earth was reinstated in the recreation areas, though someone had replaced all the sauna towels with holographic snakes. Probably a leftover prank. One night, Ren entered Marianne's office with a data pad. Something strange, he said. She raised an eyebrow. The Draco, they weren't alone. What do you mean? There are traces in Council's subnetwork code, old patterns, multiple layers of influence. Not just Draco. Someone else has been pulling strings, maybe longer than we've been members. Marianne sighed. So, it's bigger than just disgruntled reptiles. Much bigger. She stared out the viewport. The stars looked innocent. They weren't. Then we keep digging.